Humans are plagued with many fears because they are such a dominant species, and these fears are not unfounded. The fear of the ocean is an excellent example of this. After all, the depths are home to a certain prehistoric beast that has been the inspiration for a vast number of films and horror stories. Great white sharks are the largest carnivorous fish in the world. They frequently feed on sea lions, seals, and occasionally humans. Great white sharks are considered one of evolution's greatest success stories. In this video, we will talk about the brutal shark attack on a 24-year-old young surfer. Let's begin. On December 19th, 1981, the sun decided it was too timid for today as it hid behind the gray clouds looming over California. This is the tragic case of Louis Archer Boren, a 24-year-old surfer who died after getting bitten by what may have been the largest great white shark ever recorded. This is Louis Archer Boren's case. There were not many people that ventured to the coastlines of the beach-clad state because of the cloudy weather. However, enthusiasts and surfers wanted to take advantage of the storm swell that was caused by the cold, windy weather. Although most people would sleep in on Saturday mornings, Louis Archer Boren woke up to his alarm. The curly-haired adventurer was ready for the day. He planned on surfing the waves at South Moss Beach with a friend and expected it to be just another typical day. Seeker quickly got out of bed, ate breakfast, and said goodbye to his parents before heading to South Moss Beach. He got out into the driveway and secured his 5-foot 4-inch surfboard on the roof rack of his car. It was still early in the morning before rendezvous time when he arrived at South Moss Beach, and the aroma of the ocean filled the air, assuring Louis that he would have another fantastic session of surfing. Since 1899, there have been 6 fatal attacks from sharks in California. Although this pattern would easily send chills down anyone's spine and make them weary of entering the waters, 5 of the attacks were carried out by great white sharks. In addition, shark attacks that result in fatalities are not nearly as common as one might think. Unfortunately for Louis, he had no idea that he would be the target of such a savage assault when he inhaled the sea breeze. Surfers are well aware of the dangers they expose themselves to while participating in their sport. However, he was taken by surprise. The 2 friends were waiting patiently on the coast of South Moss Beach as they peered across the lonesome and turbulent sea. The 2 men gazed out over the greasy, damp kelp beds that floated in large silent rafts of brown as if serpents were churning beneath them beneath the gloomy sky. The waves were blown out on the reef, scaling up to 15 feet high, driven by the cold winds. On that particular day, not a single person was riding the waves. How could they not capitalize on this? Louis and his friend thought the 2 men pulled on their wetsuits, laughed and talking, catching up as friends as they paced along the reef. Louis and his friend were both experienced, so neither of them felt the same level of fear. Non-surfers who felt at home in the ocean paddled into the chilly waters and out into the open, floating on the surface of the water on their boards, waiting for the right moment to surf. When the winds cooperated, the 2 surfers lay down on their stomachs, pointing their toes toward the tail of the surfboard and paralleling their heads to the stringer. They paddled slowly at first, then quickly, sighting the approaching waves on their horizon as nearly perfect synchronicity. In preparation for the exhilarating moment, the 2 young men placed their hands underneath their shoulders. As the wave warmly welcomed the 2 surfers, they pushed against. Men in their 20s often talked about topics such as life and family, as well as other topics. Louis and his friends parted ways at approximately 2 p.m., not realizing that this would be the last time they would see each other. As Louis was making his way back into the car, he felt an urge in his chest. He dazedly stood beside his car with a half-hearted stance, thinking it would be such a waste to let the beautiful waves go. He basked in the deserted scenery and decided to hit the waters one more time. Just one more quick session, and then he'd be done for the day. Or so he told himself. Lewis made his way back to the beach, where he paced along the coastline and tried to get a feel for things once more. This time, however, he was truly alone. But that didn't matter to Lewis because the storm swell did not occur every day, and he wanted to take advantage of the great wave. She put on his wetsuit and started paddling out into the open waters. The sound of the churning ocean filled the air, and a feeling of dread washed over Lewis from underneath him as a terrifying creature watched the great white shark tilt its head and move quickly under him. Lewis, who was 24 years old at the time, paddled and paddled without realizing he was swimming towards his own demise. The fish in the area scrambled in fear, making way for the king shark that emerged from the shadows and reared its formidable head into the light, but Lewis did not see the creature. The gloomy weather ensured that anything a few meters below him would remain where they were in the dark, out of sight and out of mind. It moved like a submarine, precise, deadly, and cautious, following the movements of its prey. The great white shark evolved over 400 million years to become almost invisible in the ocean. Lewis's fate was sealed at that very moment. Placing itself strategically a few feet below the surfboard, the great white shark placed itself strategically a few feet below the surfboard. He couldn't move because it felt like a train had hit him. Lewis was knocked off his surfboard by an enormous force, which caused him to fall into the depths of the ocean. A single curious bite removed a portion of Lewis's left chest before he knew and understood what was happening. He was already on his way to dying. Lewis immediately gave up the ghost and succumbed to the effects of his injury. On December 20th, 1981, the water drew its curtains, concealing the horror that lay beneath it, and the eerie silence of South Moss Beach swept away the tragic fate of Lewis Archer Boren. The following day, two surfers were walking along Moss Beach when they discovered a surfboard with a portion missing and the matching section about 15 yards away. The two surfers took these parts and handed them over to the Salinas Police Department. Eventually, the Salinas Police Department on Monday, December 21st, a missing persons report was filed by one of Lewis's friends due to concerns that his vehicle had not been moved from the beach since he was last seen. They feared the worst and were wondering where Lewis was, and their answer was swept away by the cold currents around 11 a.m. on Thursday, December 22nd. Lewis's remains floated into a small cove approximately 1 kilometer north of Spanish Bay after being taken to the Pal Mort. Lewis was only bitten once, but subsequent investigations of the bite marks revealed something even more sinister. Based on the segment chopped from the surfboard, a marine biologist concluded that the shark's jaws were 18 inches wide, which indicated that the shark's length was more or less 23 feet long and weighed 2 tons. They had no doubt it was a great white shark, and the largest ever documented in all metrics. Lewis was only bitten once. According to the specialist, Lewis was no match. Hares do not engage in unintentional attacks against humans because they do not view people as a potential source of food. Unfortunately, the behemoth shark was never seen again after its encounter with Lewis, which was most likely just an exploratory bite. Because of their highly developed language capabilities and innovative thinking, humans have maintained their position at the top of the food chain for the longest period of time. The human population has been able to mold their surroundings to be more conducive to their well-being as a result of their success in exercising environmental control. Nevertheless, we should all keep in mind that the ocean is one of the few remaining places that we have not yet fully explored, and those who aren't careful enough are in for a rude awakening. Whether a shark attacks you because of mistaken identity or simply out of pure hunger, there is a high possibility of you meeting your final affliction after being attacked by a shark. That's it for today. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share and press the bell icon for more regular updates.